you ask yourself, what is this?
I was very uncomfortable and I didn't even know what to say.
She was like, this is not the person you met.
Each one, got to teach one. Let's learn from one another. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Talia Singarum. I'm 21 years old and I was born in Johannesburg. Now I'm currently living in Pretoria. I am the only child in my family. I've actually been to 7 schools my entire life, so it's been a lot of schools and a lot of moving around. So it was very easy for me to adapt to new environments and changes. I'm really good with stuff like that. I'm really close to my parents. They are basically my best friends. They weren't very strict. They are very liberal for Indian parents. But I think that they were strict when they needed to be strict. They also gave me the opportunity to live a bit. If I wanted to go to a club, my dad would be like, okay, I'm dropping you off and I'm fetching you at 2 o'clock in the morning. They trust me and they know that I will always make the right decision at the end of the day, which is how they brought me up. And up till today, and I'm 21, I still tell my parents, I'm at university, leaving university. I'm 5 minutes away from home, because for them, it's more of the world is a bad place, but you're not a bad person in the world, if that makes sense. So even up till today, I am in a relationship and I still go to my dad and be like, oh, but he's doing this, what does this mean? And my dad and I will have 2-hour conversations about okay, you should say this and this and this, and maybe do this. And it's same with my mom, we're very open. And I think that's why they're not so strict, because we do have an open sense of communication. Last year this time, I was still me, full of melanin, I was fine. And then 9 months ago, I had one spot on my face. It was this one over here. And I was like, okay, let me go to the doctor. I saw my GP. She said, oh no, it's fine. I don't think it's anything to worry about. And then I used some creams and, saw it starting to go away. And then probably a month later, I started getting spots on my chest. And then I was a bit more oh, it's going onto my body now. I need to go back to the doctor. And as soon as she saw those ones, she was like, no, it's time to go see a dermatologist. So I immediately made the appointment with the dermatologist, because I was like, it's my skin, It's not something that you can hide from everyone. So I saw the dermatologist. She said, okay, it might be vitiligo, but, we're gonna do a biopsy and, see what happens. And about a week later, we got the results back. She first said that it wasn't vitiligo. So obviously we were all relieved, because obviously we don't have a cure for vitiligo and there's nothing to do for it. So as soon as we got that news that it's not vitiligo, my parents were so happy, I was happy. I was like, okay, it's something that we can deal with. Then about 2 days later, she called me again and said that her professor and her had looked over the results and I need to come back in. Then I was like, oh no, I already got over this, now I have to go back. So we went back and she said, no, it actually is vitiligo. And all she said was, there's nothing that we can do. And hearing that from a doctor who you go and seek for advice to tell you you can't do anything is the most helpless feeling ever. And from that point, she tried to get me on steroids and medication to help it go away, but with the knowledge that it won't ever go away. So I tried the steroids for a month. I gained so much weight and it actually accelerated the spots, which was the opposite effect that she wanted. So in a span of a month, I gained, my whole chest has spots, my face, the huge ones grew in a span of a month. And at the same time, I was writing final exams. So the stress accelerated the spots as well. So there were too many factors happening with the weight gain, which for a girl, it's the worst thing to be having this weight gain and you can't even control. You can go to gym, you can eat well, but if your body's just gaining weight, you're just gaining weight. When I went back for my follow-up after a month of having the steroids, I was on 4 steroids a day, which is a lot. I went back and I said, I I can't do it anymore. I would rather have these spots and be skinny and be happy about myself than have the spots and have the weight gain, because I could only deal with one thing at a time. And at this point, I was like, I cannot deal with my weight fluctuating. And I think that's where my self-esteem was the lowest, because I didn't want to be in anything but a very baggy hoodie and sweatpants. That's all I wanted to be in, because I didn't feel pretty. I was not leaving the house without makeup. I was trying my best to cover it up. Obviously, it's very hard to cover up with normal makeup because it's two different complete skin tones. So obviously, you'd get the occasional stare. People would be like, oh, what had happened? Because obviously, it was such a rapid change so fast that I don't think anyone knew even what to say to me. And all my friends and stuff, as much as they try to be like, no, you look good, it's okay, I don't even notice it. You know that people notice it, from strangers, when they are just talking to you, you can see them looking at the spots on your face and not actually to you. One of my close friends at the time actually came up to me in exam time and said, you should go back to the dermatologist, your spots are getting really bad. It blew my mind, because there's so much sensitivity that other people need to give you with vitiligo. And a lot of people don't have the sensitivity to even cope, because, and it's not their fault. It's new, it's not around, it's not seen in the media, so you don't know how to handle it. So when she said that, I was very uncomfortable, and I didn't even know what to say. I was like, yeah, they're growing. What am I supposed to do about that? And I remember entering that exam and having 10 minutes just being like, what just happened? And then that's kind of where my mind blew more, because I was like, if my actual friend is coming to me and saying this, then what are other people saying to each other? It could be a thing where I would get made fun of, or my friends might change because I'm not the same anymore. Because I wasn't the same at that point. I was going through this whole transition, so me as myself wasn't the same. So with getting that feedback or her saying that, I think I was flabbergasted, if that rounds it up. I had no idea that it was even on someone else's mind, because it was on my mind. Why would you say that to me?
For me, it felt like my world was crashing down. Why is my girlfriend feeling like this?
It was probably the hardest thing that I had to go through.
Let's learn from one another. Let's go. Let's learn from one another. Let's go.
In the beginning, I think because we were so much in denial, that when we saw it happening more, and especially when my extended family started noticing it. So a lot of my extended family, who is very close-knit, like my grandmother, my aunts, and my uncles, when they started seeing it more, then it was, what are you seeking treatment? Are you going to this dermatologist? Maybe we should see a homeopath. Everyone was trying to give me advice, tell me to fix it, and tell me to go find help. Everyone's like, I'm praying for you, I'm praying that your skin is gonna get better. And I'm at the point where I'm like, it's not going to get better. Why are we still having this conversation? And that was my breaking point. I was so overwhelmed, not only with having the condition, but now more people are telling me how to fix it. And I'm like, but there's literally nothing you can do. So it wasn't helpful when people were trying to be helpful. Especially with a condition like this, there's so much sensitivity that's needed that a lot of people don't have, because it's not something that's drastic and you're gonna die and it's gonna be like that, but it's something so mental and emotional that I think that's where it hits most people. And especially in my age, in your 20s, you're supposed to, grow into yourself and embrace yourself and, love yourself. But I spent 20 years loving myself and, finally being okay with who I am. And when this happened, it's like I had to re-find myself and re-love myself and re-try to be okay with who I am now. And that took me a very long time. And I think everyone's help that they thought was helping was setting me back from actually moving on. I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for my dad. He was always there with the discipline, but with the love as well. And again, like I wouldn't be who I am today and have like gotten through this entire thing without him.
I think the first time we heard about this is, I think I can categorize it into like 5 phases that I went through. And the first was shock. You know, you ask yourself, what is this? Why her? You know, you go into the shock. And phase 2 is panic. Which doctor? Where do we go to? Let's research. What medication? And then you go into a phase of denial. Like, no, you know, this can't be happening. It's just one spot. It will go away. You know, so you go through that.
At my lowest point, I was already dealing with, obviously, all the spots, but at the same time, I was dealing with weight gain. I didn't feel like me, and as a person like me, who's always feeding themselves and always trying to look good and, you know, like makeup and hair, and I loved doing stuff like that. And when everything started, you know, like going down, I was finding that I wasn't doing that. I wasn't trying to put on makeup. I wasn't trying to do my hair. I wasn't trying to look good.
With this situation, there was zero control, zero sense of influence in terms of the actual condition. And that made me feel totally helpless. And I think to feel helpless as a parent, I think is one of the worst things that could ever happen to you, because you want to be in a space, especially with your child, to be able to assist with anything that comes. And I think that was the hardest part of this condition.
Darren is my boyfriend. I met him 3 years ago. It was my first year in university. We were actually doing a long distance relationship for a year. He was in PE, he was studying there and I was studying here. And while he was in PE, all the spots started. So I was kept on sending him pictures like, oh, it's a new spot. And still kept saying, you're beautiful. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just more to love now. He kept on saying, I love the spots. And that was like, how can you, okay, I mean, how can you love them? Because, you know, certain guys might be like, you know, that's kind of not attractive anymore.
So in the beginning, there was nothing. She was perfect, no spots, no nothing. And then I think about a year and a half into our relationship, we found like a couple of spots. Got diagnosed with it, and then obviously knowing me, like point at that time, like there's no cure for it. And then that hit me hard. But then at that time, I knew I had to be strong for her to get her through this. And then since then, like, I don't want to say it was easy for me, but it was easy for me to be there for her throughout this whole journey. Like in times in doubt, like times where she even like tried to give me like an out in our relationship. She was like, this is not the person you met. And I completely understand that if you don't want to be here anymore. And then for me, it felt like my world was crashing down. Like, why is my girlfriend feeling like this? You know, am I not giving her the necessary support and love, like, you know? And then, yeah, from there on, like, I always stayed on my toes. I always reassured her, always told her that she's beautiful. I always told her, like, I always just want to be with you.
He was just, I love them. They're still you. I mean, I'm with you, I'm not with your skin. Without him, I might have been at a very different place. I might not have been here, you know, trying to, oh my gosh. I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't, in the space that I am today. I wouldn't be self-confident again. I wouldn't be able to leave the house without makeup. I wouldn't have, because everyone else was more like, you need to fix it. He was the only one that was like, you're still pretty, you know? Sorry.
I was around this year where she started feeling comfortable with everything. Like, she started like doing her makeup more when we went out. Like, she didn't mind that people were gonna see the spots on her face, you know, she was like embracing it. And then that made me happy, because then she saw herself the way I see her finally, and then that just made me really happy.
We could not believe it. I mean, even we as parents were not affected by it, could not have changed and reacted like the way she did.
And if New York wants me, then I want more spots.
Let's learn from one another. Let's go. Let's learn from one another. Let's go.
About 3 months after my diagnosis, I was having a simple conversation with my boyfriend, and I was just telling him like, oh, here's another spot. And at that point, he sat me down and he immediately said, it's just a spot. It's not any less you, it's not any less beautiful, you're literally, it's just a new you. It's like an accessory that you have. And he was probably the only person that actually made me see that it was gonna be okay.
It was very hard for me to like make her understand that it's really not that big of a deal, you know, like people should really just mind their business. It's nothing to do with them. This is a you thing. You only start being okay with it once you start accepting it and once you start embracing it, you know. And then I always had to like reassure her, like, you are still beautiful, you are fire, like you are just gorgeous.
And at that point when he said that, this was probably in like December, I had stopped going to doctors, I had stopped trying to seek any treatment because I was tired, I was fed up of everyone telling me no.
You come to a point where I call it a phase of revelation, where she sat us down and she spoke to us and said, listen, I don't want to take any more medication that the dermatologist has prescribed. And we were, listen, to hear that, to understand, so we waited and I listened to her and said, what do you mean? She says, no, I've made a decision that I don't want to go and see any other doctors. I don't want to take any medication. This is who I am. The vitiligo is me, and I am comfortable with it. And this what is something that parents must realize, that they have, the main thing that a child in this condition wants is 100% support. When she told us this, it was a turning point into this entire journey that moved into the embracing it and just enjoying, coming back to enjoying ourselves as a family. So it kind of just took that elephant in the room out completely when she accepted it and she told us what she's going to do. And she said, listen, I'm going to turn this into an inspiration way, because I know a lot of other people might have it. I'd rather use it.
From there, she just blossomed into this whole new woman, you know, like.
And then when she posted this Instagram of a before and after, just to put it out there that, listen, if you have these spots on your face, there is ways that you can adapt to it. And when she put that Instagram post out, she received a call from a company in the US.
Without having vitiligo, I would not have been given the opportunities I have been given today. A brand from New York, it's a company that specifically makes products for people that have vitiligo. So the brand is called Xanderm. It's a brand specifically made for people with vitiligo. There is nothing like it on the market. We don't have products. We don't have makeup. We don't have products for us to use. There's nothing. And this product is a game changer. It literally is a lifesaver product. It's like a little stain, and you actually apply it to the white spots, and it makes you blend, and it makes you look like you have 0 spots. And I use it under makeup in order to create that even base. And when I wear it, you would never know that I had vitiligo. That's how good this product is. And they reached out to me, a little South African Indian girl who, you know, lives in her bedroom and streams movies all day. Like, that would have never happened to me if this didn't happen.
When I looked and I heard how she reacted to that request from this company, I realized that this child is really, truly comfortable in her skin, you know, as they say. I mean, even we as parents who are not affected by it could not have changed and reacted like the way she did.
Today, If I can help one person feel better about themselves, I will be eternally happy. Because for me to have what I have and to be given a platform to even try and help one person, I'm okay with taking the criticism for everybody else that can't take it, because I'm gonna help one person. And that is everything I want to do. I want to use what had happened to me to just reach one person that's going through the same thing, and to just let them know that at the end of the tunnel, you will be okay, because I am a living testament of that.
She was telling me about a friend that didn't want to be in a picture because of the vitiligo. They see it as this thing that they don't want to be seen. And she's going out there and saying, no, you can be seen the way you want to be seen. You can be seen without makeup at all, just with the vitiligo, or you can be seen camouflaging it with a specific product that's made for that, or you can be seen with full makeup over it. She's using this opportunity, I would say, to create awareness around the stigma, saying that if you have this, you shouldn't be in a picture.
From 3 years ago to now, how Talia has grown, it's an incredible amount of growth. Like, again, she is more confident. She has way more confidence than when she had it when I first met her. I don't know, she is just very driven by the condition that she has. She wants to make awareness, and she wants to tell people that it's okay to have this thing, like you are still beautiful, you know? It's a lot of mental growth. Like, you really have to be mentally strong to be able to really just pick yourself up from there, and then like wanting to change the world with this condition that you have, you know, so.
We have to try to be as normal as possible. It's difficult because, you see, we as human beings, as soon as you see something different, your attention is drawn to it, because we must be empathetic to people. So how do you do that? We have to make the parents, the children feel like they belong. It's normal. It's nothing to, I see her the same, I don't, you know, so we have to be empathetic.
And that's why, at the end of the day, I'm so thankful for my spots, because I would have never been given any of these opportunities. And they reached out to me. I know I'm saying New York, but it's New York, you know what I mean? We're in South Africa, which is yay, but that's New York. And if New York wants me, then I want more spots, you know? And they reached out to me and they want me to be the face of their brand. God would not have given me this if he didn't know that I was prepared to handle it. Because at that point I was like, you know what? I'm strong enough, I'm tired of this pity party. I need to live my life. And if I'm gonna live my life, I need to be okay with living my life like this. And if this is gonna be my new life, then I might as well, you know, try and make the best out of it.